Welcome back to SportsLine, everybody. I got to tell you, how great is my producer, Courtney? During the break, she sprinted out here and gave me 2 throat lozenges. You could probably hear the scratchiness in my throat. It's that time of year, folks. She does it all. She makes me look good on this show, which is very hard to do, and she takes care of me. So, Courtney, thank you very much. All right, time to talk some Titans, and who better than to bring in our buddy John Glennon from the Tennessean, who covers the two-tone blue. Johnny, good evening, man.
Good to be on. Thanks for having me, Johnny.
Happy holidays. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving. One of the things, John, as you talk to the players in the Titans locker room, I don't think it's just jock speak. I don't think it's just toting the company line. You talk to veteran guys like Brian Arakpo and Harry Douglas, guys who may be new to the team but certainly not new to life in the NFL, and guys like Wesley Woodyard, and they're all saying the same thing. Hey, we're 2-9. But we're not a 2-9 football team. We feel good about what we've done, and we're excited about these last 5 games. That's pretty healthy coming from a football team that's 2-9. I don't think they're saying that in Cleveland right now with the Browns.
I think you're probably right there. Judging from today's practice, it was very spirited practice, very vocal practice. Clearly a lot of emotion, going on out there. And I thought it was interesting. I talked to Wesley Woodyard after the game Sunday, and then someone asked him the question, do you guys have that, here it goes again, feeling every time that you fall behind now? And Wesley was pretty honest. He said, last year there was that feeling, a good bit of the time, because a lot of the games were one-sided. Nothing was going right for the Titans. He said, but this year it has been different. That there is a confidence level. So many of the games have been close. So many of the games have been within 1 touchdown. Titans just haven't been able to come out on the right side of them. So I still think there is a confidence level here on emotion. Good emotional level for this team. I don't think they've thrown in the towel at this point by any stretch.
That being said, though, John, and I hate saying this, but last week in Sunday's game against the Raiders, when Marcus Mariota hits Jalston Fowler for the touchdown, they go up 21-17. I got to tell you, I fully expected the Raiders to go down and score, which they did. And when the Titans got the ball back, all they needed was to get in position for at least a field goal to tie it. I did not expect them to go down and do that, and Mariota throws a pick. I mean, is that an indictment on me or just how this team has played and what you come to expect?
No, it's certainly what you come to expect, and what's head scratching is it's come in a number of different ways. It's not just the offense. We've seen the offense come up with some critical turnovers late in the games that have hurt. We've seen defense giving up big plays late in the defense, and then maybe another week like the last time they played Jacksonville, special teams was one of the big reasons they lost. Just as it seemed that they were in good shape, they have a very bad punt, a huge punt return, and things change almost right away after that. So it's not one exact thing that can put your finger on and solve the problem, but whatever it is, it's a head scratcher. The Titans can't seem to get it right, no matter who the coach is the last couple of years, and no matter what the personnel is.
John Glennon of the Tennessean is our guest. You can follow him on Twitter at Glennon Sports. Good friend of the program, joining us here on SportsLine. All right, so round 2 with the Jaguars, and I guess a chance to get a little payback against the team that they just played a couple of weeks ago. Probably should have beat, but as you said, a late special teams breakdown, a late turnover does them in. The good news is the last time the Titans won a home game, it was against the Jags, so we got that going for us, right?
So there's that. The last time was for a year ago, and it was when Sammy Hill, of all people, it was due to Sammy Hill's elevation, blocking a field goal. But beyond just revenge, for a couple of weeks, I think it is about ending that home losing streak and getting that taste out of their mouths. It's been so long now. And then Mike Mularkey talked about it today. At some point, you have to draw a line, and the Nissan Stadium has to be a difficult place for opponents again. And you can't go out and win 6 home games in a row on one Sunday, but you just have to put an end to the streak. You have to get people, to stop talking about that. You have to get it out of your own mind, and really, this is as good an opportunity as it's ever going to be. Certainly this year, and who knows, about next season. But this is a game which a 2-9 Titans team is favored over Jacksonville. We haven't seen that much this year. The Titans in the favorites role. So if you're going to get it done, this is the week to do it. They've split games with the Jaguars regularly over the years. So this is certainly a prime opportunity for the Titans to snap that streak.
John, in your opinion, why is the AFC South so bad? Why are we seeing such bad play from these teams? I know Houston's picked it up a little bit. The Colts, even though they lost Andrew Luck, the old man, Matt Hasselbeck, has been able to win them a few games. But I expected more out of this division, at least from the top, from Indy and Houston, didn't you?
I expected certainly more from Indy and probably Houston as well. Indy, I guess, the baffling thing is that the team seems to be playing better, as you said, under the old man Matt Hasselbeck than it was under Andrew Luck. I certainly didn't expect the season that Andrew Luck has had, before he was hurt. But maybe when we see Andrew Luck back again, he'll have a new offensive coordinator there. They've obviously fired Pep Hamilton since then, and maybe that'll help change his change the fortunes of Andrew Luck. But I think Houston was a little bit of a wild card to me. I thought their defense was going to be very good, and I figured they'd probably they'd struggle a little bit on offense, and that's kind of what's happening right now. But I think in the early part of the season, Houston's defense wasn't even very good, and that's why they got off to such a bad start. They're finally coming around defensively, and that's why they're now contending for a playoff spot. But as far as the Titans and the Jags, I think we both figured it might be a tough season for them, and sure enough, that's what we're seeing.
Yes, we are. We're talking with John Glennon of the Tennessean, joining us here on SportsLine. But if I'm a Jags fan, I think there's a light at the end of the tunnel. I mean, they'll get Fowler back next year, who's a good pass rusher. They've got a good running back in T.J. Yeldon. They've got some good young wide receivers. They have Julius Thomas. And I think Bortles is slowly but surely getting better. Is he reached that elite status yet? Not quite. But I think the arrow's pointing up for the Jaguars, especially from an offensive standpoint.
Yeah, I agree with you offensively. You got the Allens, Allen Hurns, and Allen Robinson. Both look like they're going to be good wide receivers. Bortles starting to come around. Yeldon, a good running back. So, that portion of it does look pretty good. And you would think that Gus Bradley being, a very good defensive coach, you would think that defensively the Jags would be better than they are. But, just last week at home got riddled by Phillip Rivers and a San Diego team that had lost 5 or 6 straight, and they had a chance to get within a game of 500 at that point. So, I think in general, the Jags offense is moving in the right direction. And you might say, the Titans have some building blocks defensively that they're moving in the right direction. Brian Orakpo looks like he's back to his old self again. You got Terrell Casey, you got Avery Williamson. I think Parrish Cox has been pretty good. So there's some building blocks defensively for the Titans, but I think offensively, especially at those skill positions, they're not getting enough of what they need to right now.
John, I know it's only been a handful of games, but if you could grade the job that Mike Mularkey has done as interim head coach, what would it be, and what do you think the chances are? And I guess as a follow-up, what would he have to do to have the interim tag removed from his name and be the Titans head coach next year?
Well, it's just going to have to come down to getting some wins. Clearly, I think unfortunately for Mike Mularkey, probably his best opportunities, were the previous Jacksonville game, of course this Jacksonville game and Oakland last week, because it's going to get. I don't see the Titans odds being very good when they're going up to New England or going to New York or Indianapolis towards the end of the season. So I think the odds are a little bit long for Mularkey right now, just because, personally I like him and I think he's a good coach. But I think it's going to be hard for ownership if he doesn't, get at least 2 or 3 wins in this, or at least a couple of wins down the stretch here, it'd be awfully hard for the ownership to say, he's our guy. We're going ahead with him. I think the fans see him as kind of as still part of the old regime and a regime that was not very successful. So I think he's done a pretty decent job so far. I think the Titans are a better overall team. I think Marcus Mariota is a better protected quarterback, and I think we're seeing some strides in various parts of the field, parts of the team rather. But I would still rate his odds as a little bit long right now at being back next year.
John, so many people come up to me, and I'm sure they come up to you probably even more, and they say, why don't the Titans just tank the rest of the season, get the number 1 overall draft pick, a pick that they could actually trade out of and stockpile assets because, let's face it, they don't need a quarterback. They have Marcus Mariota. And I try to tell these people that that's not the way teams operate. No matter what the record, week to week, you're trying to win the game. I mean, can you help me enlighten some of these people that have been asking these crazy questions about tanking the season? Like, that's just not the mentality. That's not how teams operate. Head coaches, players, front office people. No matter what the record, week to week, you're trying to win, right?
Right. I mean, because frankly, a lot of these people, their jobs depend on winning in the short term if they're going to be part of the long term answer. Some of these guys are on a final year of a contract, or they're being judged as to whether they'll be cut or not. Coaches are being judged as to whether they'll come back or not. General managers, the same kind of thing. They're being judged on whether their personnel are winning. So they're not fans in that respect. They're not looking way down the line, because a lot of them can't afford to do that. And strictly from a player standpoint, these guys have made it to where they are now in large part because of their competitive edge. I mean, because they're such great competitors and because they want to win so badly. That's why they are where they are right now. So to ask them to turn it off, just so they might have a draft pick on a team that they might not even be playing for next year, it's pretty ridiculous.
Johnny, always appreciate the time and the insight. Thanks so much for popping on. Enjoy the rest of your night, and look forward to seeing you later in the week.
Sounds good, John. Thanks for having me.
All right, the great John Glennon of the Tennessean covers the Titans. Kind enough to join us here on SportsLine. We appreciate that. When we come back, we're going to hear from Mike Mularkey and Marcus Mariota and the rest of the Titans as they get back to work today, getting ready for Sunday's game against the Jaguars. By the way, you can see that game Sunday at noon over on News Channel 5. And we will get to that and your phone calls right after this. Stay with us.